Yesterday I was able to get a 6800XT from Micro Center in Yonkers, New York. Every Micro Center in the USA, there's 25 of them. I got 10 regular Radeon 6800s and two 6800XTs. My experience was pretty crazy. I live in Fairfield, Connecticut. I took the train on Tuesday. The release was Wednesday morning. I took the train from Fairfield to Harlem, New York. Harlem 125th Street. Then you connect from the Metro North train in Harlem to the Hudson Valley line to go to Yonkers, to go straight north, and you follow the Hudson River from Harlem to Yonkers. I got to Yonkers, the train station on the Hudson River, around noon, a little after noon, and I rode my bicycle 3.5 miles, 4 miles to Micro Center. Now, once I locked up my bicycle, I went. There was a kid outside in a chair and a group of people, and there was a list for a waiting list for the 6800 series, and there was already 13 people on the list. And I was talking to the people. The list master was the only person staying. Everybody else thought they could just go home and come back and receive the card whenever they got back the next day. Just come back the next day if they're on the list. Well, I talked to the manager, the big manager at Micro Center at Yonkers, last month. He told me if you come to Micro Center the day before and camp out overnight, that you should be able to get one, but it's based on being physically there, and it's first come first serve, and you have to make a line, and the order of the line of which you are in, you have to physically be present. You can't just put your name on a list and just show up the next day or whenever, a week later. So I went back inside. Luckily, the same manager was there that day, and I was able to have him talk to the list master and explain that they could leave, but they have to check in the Micro Center rules, not my rules. Every Micro Center had different rules for check-in. Some had 2, 3, and 6. California had 6 hours. You could check in, then 6 hours later you have to check in again, which was the most lenient of all the Micro Centers. Well, Yonkers was the strictest, which was benefited me a lot. He said they have to check in every hour is the Yonkers policy. So the 13 people on the list, I was number 14 now. They had to check in again at 2 o'clock. So at 2 o'clock, everybody got crossed off the list. No one checked in. They just wanted to come the next day. Except for he called and texted everyone on the list that you could give your name and phone number. And only one person came back. So I was third on the list after the first check-in. The list master was first. He was there at 9 a.m. The person who was second was there for the 3800 or 3080 or the NVIDIA 3080, and he decided to put his name on the list. And I was third on the list now, and there was nobody else. So skip forward. We got like 5 or 6 people on the list, or whatever. 4 people. Wait. It was 5 people on the list, or something like that. And at the 4 o'clock check-in, the kid who's number 2 told me he has to go do stuff, told the list master, I'll be back for the 5 o'clock check-in. And the list master, okay, don't be late, gotta make check-in. At 5:01, the list master calls the guy in the second in line and says, hey, where are you? And texts him, where are you? And he's like, oh, I'm in the parking lot. The parking lot is small. You could see the whole parking lot. He's like, I'm walking to you right now. And we're like, we don't see you. And so the kid was lying. He wasn't there. And at 5:10, the list master, not me, I didn't say anything. The list master crossed his name off the list. He's like, well, he's not here. He lied to me. I don't know what's going on. I gave him 10 minutes. He crossed him off the list. So then, 5:25, 5:30, the kid finally shows up for the 5 o'clock check-in, like almost a half hour late. And the list master wouldn't let him get his place back, which I didn't realize there was only going to be 2 6800XTs. But I moved up from third to second, and this kid got moved to fifth because he was still the 5th person there. He's like, I'll put you at the end of the list. Don't miss check-ins. Next check-in's at 6, blah, blah, blah. The kid didn't miss another check-in, but now he was 5th. overnight got crazy. People started coming, like, later in the night, people started coming. And then around 10 o'clock at night, there was about 20 people. And the friends of the kid who got bumped came to do the same thing. And they started threatening me, kind of, like, without... The kid was like giving me this really dirty look. One of this really big, tough kid. One of his friends, I realized they were hanging out together. They were friends. And he goes, "Hey, you, come here." All like, Yonkers is really tough. It's a little ghetto and it's a little rough and tough. Yonkers, New York. I'm from the Connecticut countryside, and I wasn't used to these guys being like, "Yo, you," it was like so rude. So I come over to him, but I was very manly. I looked him right in the eye. I'm like, "Yes." He's like, "Are you scared?" The first thing he said to me, "Are you scared?" And I go, "No, why?" And I was like making dead eye contact in his eyes, like a real manly eye contact. I'm like, "Yeah, why? What are you talking about?" He's like, "Oh," that's when he backed off. He's like, "Oh, nothing, never mind." He kind of like retracted. He thought he could like intimidate me with his words. And when I just showed him whatever. So anyway, at midnight, it's freezing. Now it's freaking freezing in Yonkers. It got down to the 20-something degrees. It's below zero. I mean, it's below the freezing point. It's below 0 Celsius. It's below 32 Fahrenheit. It's cold. And we're on the Micro Center's at the top, and it's all this wind gusting. And now I'm in my sleeping bag trying to go to sleep, and my toes are just frozen. And I have like socks and all that. I'm dressed like an Eskimo, and I can't sleep. I'm too cold to sleep. And then there's people playing music in the parking lot. There's like camping in their cars, but they're not going to sleep. It's like a party. It's like a social gathering. During a coronavirus pandemic, Micro Center's having social gatherings. And I could not fall asleep. I was in my sleeping bag till like 5 a.m, freezing my butt off. And so Micro Center opens for holiday hours at 9. At 8 o'clock, now the list has like 100 and something people. But at this point in the morning, the list has over 100 people on it. And the warehouse manager comes to unlock the door at 8 a.m, and I ask him, I'm like, "What's the stock? Do you have how many XTs do you have? Blah blah blah." He's like, "I'm not allowed to tell you, but we have stuff, quote unquote. We have stuff." That was it. That's what the warehouse manager at Micro Center told me. "We have stuff. I'm not allowed to tell you." And then he came out later and explained, you have to line up in order of the list, and you're going to get vouchers. And right before the vouchers, he goes, "We have 10 6800s, not the XT version, and we only have 2 XT models." So they opened at 8:50, 10 minutes before opening. They came and gave vouchers out. The list master and I got a voucher for the 6800 XT. And the rest, the next 10 guys got vouchers for the 6800. There's a line of over 100 people. The first 12 got cards. The first 2 got XTs, and I was one of the first 2. And so then they go back inside. They lock the door. They come out at 9 o'clock when they open. Now everybody in line, so like these idiots that don't have a voucher, they're all pushing and running and like trampling. It was like chaos. And they stopped everything, like single file, 6 feet apart. We're in a pandemic. These people are so dumb. They're like trampling people. It's like Black Friday. It's like how they act at Black Friday. So the list master's first. I'm 6 feet behind them. We're walking up. I hand them my voucher, and they tell me to go to internet pickup. And I give the voucher to internet pickup. She comes out with the box. I'll go get the box. The Radeon Power Color 6800 XT. It wasn't a reference AMD box. It wasn't the box that you see on all the what's it called? All the YouTubers and stuff that got the stuff early. It's a Power Color. It's a reference card but it was in a power color box. So I'm very confused how that works. I immediately 3D Mark benchmarked it after I went through hell getting it on, and my score of 15,300 something in Time Spy was better than 98% of people in the world. I have a 3900X AMD processor, so I don't have smart access memory sharing with the 5000 series. But I got a 12-core 3900X, and I got the new 6800XT GPU, and my score was ridiculous. I put on Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, and I was only getting 80 frames per second. Well, with my 980 Ti, I was playing at 900p high settings to get 120 max frames per second. Well, I did some research, and it says to get such a high benchmark and low frames per second, you got to turn the settings up. The settings in game your system is too powerful for, it's overkill is what they said. It's overkill for what you're trying to do. Turn the settings up and let it breathe a little. I put it up to 1080p, which for my Alienware 240 hertz monitor, 1080p ultra settings, and then I was able to get over 200 frames per second. My computer is kicking butt now. I don't know if the box is down here. But yeah, I don't think the box is down here, but that's that's my crazy effing story. I had to go take the train back to Connecticut. And then I found out that 25 micro centers all got 2 XTs, 50 XTs at all the micro centers in the USA on launch. And that's better than other countries, so I guess I'm lucky. I got one. I guess only 50 people at Micro Center got one. I'm one of 50 in-store Micro Center 6800 XT on launch day owners. So I'm lucky and I'm blessed, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe.